Good morning, children. In previous class, I explained in atmosphere, under that pressure belt and planetary winds. So, what is called pressure belt and what is called planetary winds, I explained. But today, I am going to explain classification of winds. Classification of winds. And before discuss this one, again I will repeat this part, otherwise you can't understood about this. Why? Because classification of winds depends upon pressure belt and planetary winds. So now I am going to discuss about what I explained in previous class. Here it is a earth. It is earth or globe, I think. 0 degrees, this one is a equatorial low pressure area. Equatorial low pressure area. What is that? Equator. Up to equator to 10 degrees north side, 0 degrees to 10 degrees south side is known as hot zone. What is that? Hot zone. And one more important thing is here, you see, this is a northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere. And this one is a southern hemisphere, downside, is upwards, and this one upwards, and this one is a southern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere. And north side, 0 degrees to 10 degrees north side is known as a hot belt, hot zone. And 0 degrees to 10 degrees, that is south side, that is also hot zone. But 0 degrees to up to tropics, Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, it means 0 to 23 and half, 0 to 23 and half south. So this area is known as now hot zone or tropical zone. So this tropical zone is a hot zone generally. Suppose from equator to move towards the pole, whether north pole or south pole, what happens? The temperature will be decrease. So due to going to the poles from 0 degrees to going to the poles, temperature will be decreased. And one more, low pressure area, high pressure area. Generally wind is blowing from low pressure area to high pressure area. Later high pressure area to low pressure area. This is the common phenomena. Wind is blowing low pressure area to high pressure area to low pressure area. It's happening twice in a day. 2 సార్లు జరుగుతుంది. ఏంటది? భూమి మీద ఉన్న గాలి సముద్రం వైపు వెళ్ళడం, సముద్రాల వైపు ఉన్న గాలి అక్కడ ఉన్న బ్రీజ్ ఏదైతే ఉందో అది ఇటువైపు పవనాలు, మలయ మారుతాలు ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో అవి ఇటువైపుకి వస్తూ ఉంటాయి. ఇటువైపు అంటే భూమి మీదకి వస్తూ ఉంటాయి. సో ఈక్వటోరియల్ లో ప్రెజర్ ఏరియా, ఆఫ్టర్వర్డ్స్ subtropical high pressure belt. So wind is blowing generally low, where there is a low pressure, the high pressure wind is blowing. The high pressure wind is blowing from high pressure area to low pressure area. Then afterwards, subpolar low pressure belt. That is subpolar. It means Arctic circle, 66 and half degrees Arctic circle north side, and 66 and half degrees that is Antarctic circle area is there. No, those are subpolar low pressure belt. This is also subpolar low pressure belt. Those belts. సో ఇక్కడ ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి చూడండి. ఇది ఆర్కిటిక్ జోన్, ఇది అంటార్కిటిక్ జోన్. ఆర్కిటిక్ వలయం, అంటార్కిటిక్ వలయం. ఆర్కిటిక్ సర్కిల్, అంటార్కిటిక్ సర్కిల్. ఇక్కడ ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి? సబ్ పోలార్ లో ప్రెజర్ బెల్ట్. అంటే ఇక్కడ లో ప్రెజర్ బెల్ట్ ఉంది, దీనిపైనే ఉంటుంది హై ప్రెజర్. అంటే పోల్స్ దగ్గర హై ప్రెజర్ ఉంటుంది. పోల్స్ దగ్గర ఏముంటుంది? హై ప్రెజర్ ఉంటుంది. తర్వాత ట్రాఫిక్స్ దగ్గర కూడా మీరు చూడండి, ఇక్కడ ట్రాఫిక్స్ దగ్గర హై ప్రెజర్ ఉంది, పోల్స్ దగ్గర హై ప్రెజర్ ఉంది. రెండు చోట్ల హై ప్రెజర్ మీరు చూస్తున్నారు. ఇక్కడ ట్రాఫికల్ జోన్ దగ్గర హై ప్రెజర్ ఉంది, తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ పోల్స్ దగ్గర కూడా హై ప్రెజర్ ఉంది. హై ప్రెజర్ నుంచి లో ప్రెజర్ ఏరియాకి విండ్ బ్లోయింగ్ అవుతుంది. ఎందుకు? లో ప్రెజర్ ఏరియాలో ఏవైతే వేడి గాలి ఉంటుందో అది త్వరగా వేడికి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, కాబట్టి అక్కడి నుంచి రావడం లేట్ అవుతుంది. ఎక్కడి నుంచి రావడం? సముద్రాల మీద నుంచి గాలి భూమి మీదకి రావడం కొంచెం లేట్ అవుతుంది. సో ద బ్రీజ్ కమింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ surface of the water from ocean area to surface of the land. This is called wind. The air is blowing from surface of the ocean area to from surface of the land. So this is called wind blowing. So breeze is coming from surface of the ocean towards the surface of the land. దీని ముందు ఏం జరిగింది? సర్ఫేస్ ఆఫ్ ద ల్యాండ్ నుంచి సర్ఫేస్ ఆఫ్ ది ఓషన్ మీదకి వాటర్ ఎయిర్ అనేది వెళ్ళింది. ఇట్లా జరిగింది అనమాట. సరే, ఇప్పుడు మనం చెప్పుకోబోయే రెండో ముఖ్యమైన అంశం ఏంటంటే కొరియాలిస్ ఎఫెక్ట్. కొరియాలిస్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఏంటి అంటే ఎర్త్ స్పీడ్గా తిరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. స్పీడ్గా తిరుగుతూ ఉన్నప్పుడు కొంత శక్తి రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది. అది విండ్ పవర్ అనమాట. విండ్ పవర్ అనేది రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది. ఈ విండ్ పవర్ వల్లనే సముద్రాల యొక్క కదలికలు, సముద్రంలో వాటర్ కదలికలు, ఓకే, అట్లనే రకరకాల విండ్స్ అనేవి వస్తూ ఉంటాయి అన్నమాట. ప్రపంచం మొత్తంలో త్రూఅవుట్ ద వరల్డ్ విండ్స్ అనేవి వస్తూ ఉంటాయి. ఈ కొరియాలిస్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అనేది ఈక్వేటర్ దగ్గర ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది, పోల్స్ దగ్గర ఏమో తక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. ఇది ఇప్పుడు మనం చెప్పుకోబోయేది క్లాసిఫికేషన్ ఆఫ్ విండ్స్. What we are going to discuss, classification of winds. Classification of winds. So winds are classified into three types. Number one, according to speed. Depend upon the speed we can classify the winds into different types. Now, according to speed winds are classified into three types. According to the speed of wind, the winds are classified into three types. Number one, that is planetary winds. Number one is planetary winds. And number two, seasonal winds. And number three, local winds. Winds are how many types? Winds are three types. According to the speed, we can classify the wind into three types. Number one, planetary winds, and number two, seasonal winds, and number three, local winds. Planetary winds, seasonal winds, local winds. Generally, wind is blowing from one direction to another direction. I said while before class, I said what the winds are blowing, wind direction, that is depend upon the place. So planetary winds. Here Earth is a planet. So it means on surface of the land, on surface of the water, everywhere there must be a wind is blowing from one direction to another direction. Wind is blowing generally. Suppose this is a Earth, you think. This is Earth. This is a equator. So winds are blowing from which direction to which direction generally. This is the north, this is the south, this is the east, and this is the west. Wind is blowing generally east to west, and this side north east, this side, and this side coming from west and south. This is wind direction. This is called wind direction. Wind is blowing from northern hemisphere, northeast, and southern hemisphere and southwest side. The wind is blowing. This is a common phenomena. Everybody know about this. Later, wind is blowing throughout the world. Where there is a place, where there is any type of area, where there is a water, ocean area, or where there is a surface of the land area, whatever it may be, wind is blowing commonly. So, winds are blowing throughout the world, throughout all continents, throughout all the oceans area, without any specific area. Wind is blowing commonly. I mean, winds, planetary winds. Planetary winds. We are talking about the planetary winds. Under planetary winds, there is a three types of winds are there. Number one, trade winds. Trade winds. And number two, westerlies. And number three, polar winds. Trade winds, westerlies, and polar winds. Three types of winds which is blowing throughout the world. So that is planetary winds. Earth is a planet. Winds are blowing throughout the planet with different directions. North side one direction and south side one direction. The winds are blowing. So here planetary winds are three types. One is trade winds, one is westerlies, one is polar winds. Trade winds which is useful for to do trade. Useful for trade. So this is you know that trade winds means in earlier several business magnates which is coming from the Arabia to India and Arabia to Europe, especially Italy, Alexandria port. Several sailors, several Arabian scholars come to India due to the trade winds. at the time of trade winds. And Vasco da Gama also come to India through trade winds only. So number of personalities identified the trade winds, which is most useful. And next one, westerlies. From west side to east side, the winds are blowing. That winds are called westerlies. From west side to winds are blowing. This is known as westerlies. What is known as westerlies? Winds are blowing from west direction to east direction. West direction to east direction. Such winds are known as westerlies. These winds are blowing in Europe, not only in Europe, in India, southwest area to westerlies, which is coming generally in monsoon season. And westerlies after polar winds. Polar winds blowing from north polar area towards Arctic circle area, and south side polar winds are coming towards Antarctic circle area. So that is here low pressure subpolar area. Here also low pressure subpolar area. So the winds which is coming from the North Pole area to subpolar zone and South Pole area to subpolar zone. So those winds are known as polar winds. So planetary winds, which is useful for agriculture purpose, which is useful for traveling purpose, which is useful for rains, and sometimes cold winds also coming. Those winds are very very dangerous for human beings. So human beings getting life because of rainwater. The winds are carries the water in the form of clouds. So that is the most important. So those winds, trade winds, westerlies, polar winds. Next one, that is seasonal winds. What is that? Seasonal winds. Seasonal winds means what is called seasonal winds? What is called seasonal winds? According to the season, the winds are blowing. According to the season, the winds are blowing. For example, in India, the seasonal winds are known as monsoons. What is that? Monsoon. What is that? Monsoons. Seasonal wind, the best example is monsoon. What is that? Monsoon. Monsoons. There are two types of monsoons, we know that. And generally, India getting highest rainfall through southwest monsoons. Those monsoons are occurred due to, one is Coriolis effect, another one El Nino La Nino effect. El Nino La Nino effect. Earlier I said that. So monsoons generally happens. The difference between the temperatures and difference between the wind blowing. Generally, the hot wind which is moving from surface of the land towards ocean area. So where there is a cool. Again, the surface of the ocean to the breeze is coming to surface of the land. Between that, the temperatures and the air pressure, air pressures, there must be a lot of difference is there. In that difference, what happens? The clouds will be formed. When the clouds will be formed, automatically low pressures also which is happened on ocean. So that's why cyclonic cyclonic pressure, cyclonic depressions which is happened in the ocean because of difference in the temperature, difference in the wind blowing. ఈ ఏవైతే ఉష్ణోగ్రతల్లో తేడాలు ఉంటాయో ఆ తేడాల వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, సైక్లోన్స్ డిప్రెషన్స్ అనేవి ఫామ్ అవుతాయి. సో అలా ఎప్పుడైతే సైక్లోన్స్ డిప్రెషన్స్ ఫామ్ అవుతాయో అప్పుడు మనకి ఆటోమేటిక్గా క్లౌడ్స్ అనేవి ఫామ్ అవుతాయి. క్లౌడ్స్ ఫామ్ అయ్యి విండ్స్ అనేవి ఆ క్లౌడ్స్ను మోసుకొని రావడం జరుగుతుంది. ఆ విధంగా వర్షం పడటం జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. సో ఈ విధంగా మనం ఈ సీజనల్ విండ్స్ అంటే ఏం చెప్పాను, మాన్సూన్స్ ఆర్ సీజనల్ విండ్స్. ఇవి మన దేశంలోనే కాదు, ప్రపంచంలో చాలా దేశాలు, మన చుట్టుపక్కల ఉన్న దేశాలన్నింటిలో కూడా ఈ మాన్సూన్స్ అనేవి ఉంటాయి అన్నమాట. మాన్సూన్స్ మనకు వచ్చేసి భారతదేశంలో 2 రకాల మాన్సూన్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఇండియా ఈజ్ ఎఫెక్టెడ్ బై 2 types of monsoons. Australia also affected by 2 types of monsoons. Australia, not only Australia, several nations affected by our surrounding nations affected by the monsoons commonly. Japan also affected and China is also affected. Mongolia is also affected by monsoons only. And even Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar, such nations, not only these nations, Philippines, Japan, Indonesia, Fiji, and such nations are affected a lot by monsoons. Generally, India getting a high rate of rainfall due to southwest monsoon. What is that? Southwest monsoons. So highest rainfall. And again, northeast monsoon also there. India getting rain through northeast monsoon. So there is a 2 types of monsoons. In Australia is also there, monsoons are there. There also rain is coming due to monsoons only. So finally I explained here planetary winds, and next one seasonal winds, and next one local winds. What is that? Local winds. Okay students, what I explained, that is the most important here. What I explained, so here today classification of winds I explained. So under that, according to the speed, the winds are classified into 3 types. I said number 1 planetary winds, and number 2 seasonal winds, and number 3 local winds. Local winds are 2 types. What are the 2? Number 1 hot winds. What is that? Hot winds. And number 2, that is cold winds. So students, I will explain later this matter, hot winds and cold winds, in next class. Thank you.